Tamil Nadu Finance Minister D. Jayakumar presents his maiden budget. Public transport and infrastructure get big push. However, key issues like the aftermath of the toxic oil spill and women and children's safety given the short shrift. CBSE student with learning disability from Mumbai given no concession in the ongoing board exams. Parents blame board for the apathy.
Be happy if the girls are here. I will be happy, but I know they have already been eliminated.
Another shocker, and this time Pune, 2 models go missing. Advocate alleges murder and exposes flesh trade racket. You're watching The Big Story. I'm Amita Balachandra. Before we get to the big story, a quick story now. A shocking case of apathy on part of the CBSE board. A class 10 student with multiple learning disabilities has been denied extra time and a writer for the class 10 board exams that are currently underway. The reason? The student's application reached the board late. Despite the mother running around, the student was denied the necessary concessions. Richa Sharma gets us a story.
This is the worried mother of a student with learning disability from Mumbai. Her son, who is appearing for the crucial 10th CBSE board exam, has been diagnosed with learning disabilities, both dyslexia and dysgraphia. Her son has been denied special provision prescribed by the education board. His fault: not able to provide documents before the date of prescription. The delay was in fact due to the limited testing centers available in the country.
I was assured by the institute as well that my son's, though if it, however far it may get late, however far it may delay, he would definitely, they assured me that he will be able to get the, his LD into consideration by the boards. So, but somewhere in the end, they did not consider, and they refused to consider my son's boards, and he didn't get any facilities as per the LD. So I definitely want them to consider it and do something about it, consider, because still my other papers are still left. He deserves it.
The crucial certificate would mean that this student would get extra time to complete the paper, plus the services of a writer, both very critical because having dyslexia means difficulty in reading, writing, spelling, math and memory. Additionally, having dysgraphia means having deficiency in the ability to write. Primarily, handwriting is limited. The certification was signed by Joint Secretary and Regional Officer for the CBSE board just the day before the exam started. The mother of the student is now running from pillar to post for finding a way out. Still hopeful her child will get his rights.
Junior secretaries like Mahesh Dharmadhikari should not be in that place where they need to deal with sensitive children. He should be immediately suspended for this act. It's impossible for children to get the results before 20th of December because the centers are few, the diagnosis is late, and schools also do not diagnose learning disability early. They only are awakened after the 7th, 8th standard, and sometimes in the 9th standard when they have to be detained so that they get 100% results.
The school authorities refused to comment on camera but said the application was rejected by the board because of late submission. The Nair Hospital, on the other hand, said in a statement that this is not the first time such a delay has happened, as students come at the last minute. But this was an exceptional case even for them, as the Chennai divisional head gave out a rejection letter without any intimation, and they are doing all that they can to get an approval before the next exam. And as we speak right now, the CBSE exams for class 10 students are already underway, and the students have already appeared for one paper. And so this means that the particular student in this case has already lost out. In this era of stiff competition and high stakes where every mark counts, The only hope that the student now has is that the CBSE board officials reconsider their decision before the upcoming science paper, which is to be scheduled and held on 22nd of March. This is Richa Sharma for Magic Bricks Now.
On to the big story now. With the burden of a ballooning fiscal deficit, Tamil Nadu's finance minister presented his maiden budget. The positives: money set aside to build roads, hospitals and schools, funds allocated to build more courts and upgrade the police department and police housing. Money has also been set aside to revive water bodies and link rivers, key in a state with minimal water resources. However, minimal allocation made to clean up the coast or compensate fishermen who lost their livelihood to the recent oil spill.
Tamil Nadu Finance Minister D. Jayakumar presented his maiden budget this Thursday despite an alarming fiscal deficit. The biggest allocation was given for roads, urban transportation and infrastructure. However, talking about the misses, fishermen's livelihood has been affected, but a sum of rupees 5,000 only has been provided for them. Also, the experts felt that women's safety and education should have been given the much needed focus. Most of the projects that they have spoken about have already been sanctioned and there is nothing concrete that has been done. In Chennai, Shweta for Magic Bricks Now.
If you look at the overall budget, primarily there are a lot of learnings from the previous year's budget. We have an expenditure of almost more than 60,000 crores more than the income that we have had. So a 60,000 crore deficit is really huge. They have just claimed that the deficit will come below 3% of the GSDP, but there has been absolutely no plan that has been presented how it will come below 3%. The absolute lack of transparency itself is a big problem in this oil spill, and 20 crores seems to be a very small amount with respect to the nature of damage that we are seeing there. Definitely, safety of women was a key focus of Tamil Nadu government some years back, but over the last few years at least, there has been absolutely nothing that's being done. The whole issue of women's safety has to be looked at very holistically, and there needs to be a plan. There is absolutely no plan with respect to the CCTV cameras. They said they will install in all the police stations. That has not happened yet. So there are lots of issues with respect to the women's safety.
On the big story, we're joined in by Sumant C. Raman. Mr. Raman, thank you so much for joining us here on Magic Bricks Now. First of all, tell me this. It's great that Tamil Nadu budget mentions, transport, road infrastructure, massive allocations for these sectors. But what about oil spill? Because we cannot dismiss the fact that it was a full-blown ecological disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it was a disaster, and the response was found to be wanting from all sides, not just the state government, central government, the port authority, and so on. But, having said that, I think that at least, hopefully the lesson has been learned properly. Maybe more could be done to prevent such incidents in future, and if such incidents do happen, to sort of take quick corrective measures. So, as far as, the budget itself is concerned, there is not too much of it. The state's fiscal position is not great. And I think that the government had very limited leeway. Also, they have to keep in mind the local body election in about a month or 2 months' time. So they cannot afford to have a budget which is harsh. So they don't have much of room, and fiscal deficit has gone up. Debt to GDP ratio has gone up. I mean, everything is really not looking very good.
Fair enough that there was a lot of fiscal deficit. But the point is that within the budget outlay that they had, just about 20 crore rupees has been allocated for cleaning up the ocean. Should that allocation perhaps have been more?
No, I don't think that there is a complete, awareness in terms of how much this is actually going to cost. And this is, some kind of an ad hoc arrangement might have been made to allocate this amount. And obviously the center will also have to chip in with some funds of its own. So this is not the total amount that is going to be spent. It's only the amount going to be spent by the state government. Maybe the port authority will spend some more amounts, and central government will chip in. So eventually, I don't think it is fair to, base our assessment of the budget on this one issue itself.
All right, also tell me this, what about women's safety? Because that was another area which, the budget did not focus on this time.
Well, look, that is a very large subject. I mean, I don't think that the budget can do, except, the general safety measures. For instance, CCTV cameras are not specific to women. I mean, they are specific to safety of the public at large. So I would not really, lay too much claim on saying that specifically for women's safety, greater awareness, better lighting of places, those kind of issues, are what needs to be done. And as long as the infrastructure components are being made, are being improved, I don't have any problems with that, because it's very difficult to sort of set apart significant funding for a state which is actually struggling to actually even address the crisis that agriculture sector is facing. So many sectors are pretty much in crisis. Even industry, though they have projected 9% growth and all that, how much of that is actually going to happen remains to be seen. So I would not blame the government for, failing in this area.
Mr. Raman, also another point is that, the fishing business took a huge hit with the oil spill, and fishermen are getting a paltry 5,000 rupees compensation here. Do you think that amount should have been increased? What do you make of that?
Look, the amount of compensation that is paid to fishermen is not, I'm not terribly sure if it relates to the oil spill alone, because generally what happens is there is a 45-day fishing free period, that is to allow the ocean's fishing wealth to be regenerated, and fishermen are paid a compensation. That amount has been increased to 5,000 in this budget. So the money that has been allocated to fishermen, to my knowledge, relates to the amount that is to be paid to them in their period when they are not allowed to take their boats out to the sea, and that happens every year. So as far as, I don't know whether that they're going to be paid this kind of ad hoc compensation for the oil spill as well, but my understanding is that is the one amount which is paid every year, and that has been increased to 5,000 rupees.
Mr. Raman, you also mentioned that, it's not fair to get the state government to allocate all of the money for oil spill. But, earlier the Indian Coastal Guard had asked different states to come up with a state contingency plan. That has not been done in Tamil Nadu yet.
I think, there are a lot of issues that need to be taken up, especially how well the disaster mitigation plans are actually put into effect. But right now, I mean, the present government is sort of needing a contingency plan for its own survival. So I think that, I don't believe that they are right now in a position to sort of look seriously at all of this stuff, which is a pity for the state and for the people. But I think we have to just be brutally honest about it. And I think that until they feel politically secure, it's going to be extremely unlikely that you're going to have too much of attention being paid to all of this.
But how long before that to set in, Mr. Raman? Because at this point in time, the public health crisis caused due to this oil spill is massive.
It is, but it is not noticed visibly, or the media hasn't been reporting extensively on it. So, for instance, your channel has been, but most of the local channels have moved on. Local television and print media has moved on. And, whatever effects that are being felt are not being highlighted. So that's a pity, of course. But as far as your question of how long will it take for them to feel politically secure, I think in less than a month's time, on the 12th of April, we have the RK Nagar by-election to fill the vacancy caused by demise of Jayalalitha. That will give us a clue. The result is expected on the 15th. So on 15th of April, we will have a reasonable clue as to what the political future of this government is going to be.
So you're essentially saying that the government has done a good job with the budget, and all of these things have to be taken up separately,
No.
whether it's a state contingency plan or coming up with measures to figure out how to address the big problem of health because of the oil spill.
No, I have not at all said that the government has done a very good job with the budget. I've just said that they had very little opportunity to do anything much because, things have really spun out of control in the last 2 to 3 years. And the need, because of the political compulsions of the local body elections, the by-election which is coming up in a month's time, and in fact, this will be the first time that they are facing the election without Ms. Jayalalitha. So there is a split in the party and all that. So there is a major problem for the government to actually put money into areas where it should be. They cannot raise taxes for obvious reasons.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying it's a good budget at all. I'm just saying that I'm explaining why the budget is what it is.
Okay, Mr. Raman, but then tell me, two things that we take very, very seriously here on Magic Bricks now: women's safety and the fact that this oil spill has caused a huge public health crisis. So, keeping both these issues together, what should the government do, perhaps separately?
As far as women's safety, Tamil Nadu has one of the best track records in the country. I mean, women, by and large, are extremely safe in the state. And I think that's irrespective of which party, is governing and so on. But particularly, under Ms. Jayalalitha's government, the women's safety has been taken quite seriously. In fact, Tamil Nadu has the highest number of women police officers and police personnel in the country. So, all women police stations also, Tamil Nadu is the state with perhaps one of the largest number of all women police stations. So, and a lot of effort is going on in training the women policemen on how to handle issues. So, I think that you have to understand that there is already a lot of work done on women's safety in Tamil Nadu. Oil fleet, I agree. I mean, the government, could have acted a little faster and done a better job.
Right.
But the political crisis probably took away some of the work that they could have done better.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us here on Magic Bricks now. Let's also listen into what people of Chennai think about this budget.
We are looking forward to the completion of Chennai metro projects, because many a time when we are traveling to places like Anna Nagar or places like slightly distant, but at times we are caught in traffic. And when we go to cities with metro operating systematically, we feel that we are reaching places quite easily. So this is one thing we are looking forward to.
The budget allocation to the poor people and this fishermen, and also Varda Puyal, the Varda cyclone, and this has been not classified in detailed manner, and it has to be studied in later only, but not today. It is too early to declare everything.
Away from that, moving on now, another shocking case. 2 girls who were brought to Pune as part of the alleged flesh trade, who were later rescued, taken to Delhi, went missing in a mysterious manner nearly 6 months ago. Now, the Bombay High Court has taken serious stock of the case and has ordered Maharashtra police to trace them both. Richa Sharma gets us details.
The Bombay High Court on Wednesday summoned and ordered the Pune police to trace down the 2 girls, that is the 16-year-old Nepalese girl as well as 24-year-old model from Delhi, who had alleged to being raped and sexually assaulted by more than 100 men and also pushed into prostitution by the main accused in the case. Now, this case had come into light last year in 2016 March, when this 24-year-old Delhi model was admitted to a Delhi hospital, where she was admitted because of burns all over her body, and also because she was sexually assaulted back then when she had complained by a Pune main accused person, where she was promised acting roles by this main accused, after which advocate Anuja Kapoor had helped these girls being rescued and also fight the case. But one of the major accusation or allegations that this advocate has come forward with is that she fears for the life of these girls because she hasn't been able to trace them from the last 6 months and does not have any contact with them, after which the court summoned the Pune police to trace them down and bring forward a reply to them in the next hearing that will take place on 31st of March. This is Richa Sharma for Magic Bricks Now.
I don't believe in police and I don't need the protection, because if these are the people who are going to provide me the protection, just forget it. So I don't believe in them. This is an CBI and SIT stuff. Ask them to take it over. I don't believe in them. They will not handle the interrogation, because as they are from head to knee, they are involved. Okay. And secondly, I said a direction should be given to the police officials to investigate and to ask where are the victims. They are no more there. They are not there, and I can assure you that they are not there. I can feel it. I know it. And if they would have been present, they would have been shouting. If I am accusing you of something, they would have been shouting, no, we saw her here, we saw her there. They are not there, they're not there. And asked them, and then judge said 15 days, present the girls. I will be happy if the girls are here. I will be happy. But I know they have already eliminated them.
Moving on to news from Bengaluru now. Property tax defaulters in Bengaluru, watch out. Furniture and other movable assets in your house or commercial property could be confiscated if you don't pay taxes even for 1 year. Yes, that's what N. Manjunath Prasad, Commissioner of Brihat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike, has said. He will issue notices to tax defaulters from the 1st of April with a 15-day deadline to pay up the arrears. Shrija gets us more details.
If you are one among those who has been evading tax for many years, then be prepared to lose your movable assets. At least this is what the BBMP is saying. In fact, the BBMP, the cash-strapped Brihat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike, is now planning to revive the entire civic body, which had plans to at least meet a target of 3,000 crores, that is through the property tax, has only collected so far 1,900 crores. And now the BBMP plans to go about and send notices to those tax defaulters. That is, these tax defaulters will be given a 15-day deadline, and even after which, failing to do so, they will be issued a warrant, and in the due course of action, they will also be in fact seizing the movable assets like computer, jewelry, vehicles, also the furnitures. The BBMP will be seizing from the tax defaulters. In Bengaluru, Shrija for Magic Breaks Now.
ಸರ್, ಈಗ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ನಮಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕಂದಾಯಗಳು ಬಾಕಿ ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ನಿಗದಿಪಡಿಸಿದ್ವಿ. ಮಾರ್ಚ್ 31 ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಟ್ಟಲೇಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟಿನ ಆದೇಶ ತೊಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವ್ರು ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆ ಮುಂದೆ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಅಂಟಿಸಿ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ, ಕಟ್ಟಲೇಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಫರ್ದರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ, ಈ ಥರ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಂತ 1 ಸರಿ 2 ಸರಿ 3 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. 4th ಟೈಮ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಬಾಗಿಲ ಹತ್ರ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನೀವು ಕಟ್ಟಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜಪ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಾಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. After that, we will take action. So many warnings. So number of warnings there. Not only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 warnings irutte. Finally, we will take that type of decision. There are number of properties there, but now innu adanella count ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇನ್ನು zone wise ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. After 31st only ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. 31 ಮಾರ್ಚ್ 31 ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಝೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಬಾಕಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು GI ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಝೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಂದಾಯ ಬಾಕಿ ಇದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು after 31st only we come to know that.
There is a provision for seizing the movables of the defaulters. So we are issuing warrants and we will collect the tax. This is major properties are about 300 to 500.
Okay. So
they are the major defaulters. We are issuing notices. Then we will issue warrant. And we will seize the movables. It is not first time.
Okay.
It is from the beginning of the BBMP. We are collecting every year like that only.
Okay.
From the defaulters.
Okay.
Honestly, who are paying, there will be no problem at all.
Okay.
We have a defaulter list in our GIS system.
Okay.
We will have find out in that list, and we will take action against them.
Moving on now, with municipal polls in the national capital a month away, political parties have started their groundwork. The BJP will have a stiff competition in the MCD polls by the Aam Aadmi Party, Congress and a fresh debutant, Swaraj India, led by Yogendra Yadav. Now, the parties are leaving no stones unturned to woo the Delhiites with strong campaigning. Deepa Rana sent us this report.
With municipal elections round the corner, the three political parties, BJP, Congress and Aam Aadmi Party, have already started their groundwork. This is also the first time that Swaraj India will be making their debut in the upcoming civic polls. The State Election Commission has already announced the schedule for the upcoming election. 22nd April, elections will be held in the national capital for 272 wards. Nominations for which will start from 27th of this month. This is the first time that elections will be held in 104 seats of North MCD and South MCD and 64 seats of East Delhi Municipal Corporation. This is post the trifurcation of the Municipal Corporation. This is also the first time that nota or none of the above option is being introduced in the civic polls. Also, the first time that the State Election Commission has increased the expenditure that each candidate can do from 5 lakh to 5,65,000. Also,
we opened our candidate selection process for all the citizens of Delhi, and the response has been overwhelming. And right from day one, what we have been saying is that our first success in these elections would be if we are able to make these elections an agenda-based elections. Unlike the previous times when MCD elections were fought purely on terms of individual localized leader, and issues were never on the fore in these elections.